Oh,
Self-awareness.
next time we record, we need to do a new jingle.
Yeah, it's true.
Ramses and Marissa.
Oh, I can't even. I just like I wait. I like part of me tunes out when they get on screen. I just can't. I just can't with the wokeness. I'm like, leave me alone. It's just like yeah, you're not better than everyone in the world because you're woke. Sorry.
I know. Notice everybody how Michelle has gone from being very kind of tame with the way she speaks. She spoke up until recent events where she's just not taking shit anymore. She'll just let
No.
go. But I, I think that so it's interesting because in our two, yours and my kind of personalities, I think that I kind of would lean slightly towards more of the wokeness and you
Hmm.
slightly more to the conservative if we had to kind of
Yeah.
choose a side only because of the way we were brought up and like our belief system and everything around that. But we're not too so much to the extremes that kind of it makes it impossible for us to be friends
Yeah.
and speak like and I mean I don't think we've
But
ever spoken about go for it.
no, I was just gonna say, but my problem isn't with like the beliefs of the I think a lot of what they're saying within that woke
Sphere.
progressive things. Yeah, I think they have a lot of good pointers over there. I think it's the fact that they're progressive until it comes to accepting someone else's beliefs and like accepting that you know what, I believe in live and let live. I'm like, do your thing. I don't care what you do in your own life or what pronouns you want to use, but don't shove your beliefs into
Yeah.
my throat and don't tell me that I'm a worse person than you because I believe this, that, and the other. That's my issue with it, is that they believe they are better than everyone else. They think they're so progressive, but they're not really progressive because they only believe they're right and everyone else is
Mm.
wrong. And usually they're wrong. So,
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the thing with it with any extreme, like when they are like take Jordan Peterson as an example, where he's very much on the conservative side, and there are a lot of
mhm.
things that I completely agree with him, and there are some things he's so dead set on them, and I'm like, no, but
Yeah.
you're wrong. You are just wrong, like, you know, it is just wrong. And other people say, and it's interesting. We should have a conversation. We should try and
Mm.
think about like really conservative views that are a bit touchy and really woke views that are a bit touchy, and then see how we both kind of really feel about it. Um,
Yeah.
anyway, later, before like after the Love is Blind seasons and before my maternity leave. Um, but Ramses and Marissa. So I think they are also kind of like she's probably slightly more on the conservative side, and he's because of the military and things like that, he's so completely woke. And that whole thing around physical intimacy and sexual presence and it just struck a nerve.
Yeah.
It, it was so because so I don't think we've ever actually we keep saying we're going to make an episode about tantra and like these practice like sexual beliefs and things like that.
Yeah.
The whole thing around, and that's really on the woke side, well, woke side. Um, the fact that he was like, but I need physical intimacy, and like, if you're not feeling well, it's making me not feel well, and putting his sexual needs ahead of her basic, like, physical needs,
Yeah.
it really drove me insane. And her, like, worries about but what if like when I'm pregnant and this and that and like he was not reassuring at all. He was just like but I have needs and things, and she was saying things like I could be unhappy for 5 to 7 years if it means working through it and making work, and you could tell that he was like that's too long and I'm not gonna
Yeah. I'm not
he
gonna put any. It is a long time, but like he was looked like he was unwilling to put any effort in.
yeah, and I was like it's good that you people express their needs. I mean I think it's healthy, but I think people forget that when you express your needs, it doesn't mean that they're going to be heard. It means that, you know,
Hmm.
you're and it goes to a conversation because the fact that you need sex is not as important as the fact that she's in pain right now and feeling uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Um, and you know, open relationships kind of, you know, I don't, you know, I even think that I have a couple a friend a guy who's married and they're in an open relationship. And
Yeah.
actually, the times where she's not feeling well physically is not the time where he goes to see other women. It's the time when he's present for her and makes sure that she's okay.
Aw, sweet.
You know, they consider sex and open relationship and the fact that it's something to be enjoyed when you're in like your best mindset. And if both of them are not in the best mindset, then it's just not going to happen. And I think that's the risk with these open relationships. And like Ramses has been like, you could tell that there's a part of him of saying, if my physical needs are not being met, I'm not gonna bother.
Yeah.
It really was irksome to me. So last episode we talked about the edit and things like that, and it probably not being fair. So I'll give him the benefit of the doubt, even though I don't want to, only because we gave the benefit of the doubt to another couple for the edit. But
Yeah.
I just,
I'm having a very hard time giving him the benefit of the doubt, like with the words that are coming out of his mouth. No one's forcing him to say these words and to react this way to her,
yeah,
So yes, we don't know the bigger picture, but still. Um, and you know what, part of the problem that I have with all this wokeism and progressiveness is that what's important to them is me. Only I'm important, and
mm,
it's very self-centered, and it's very that my feelings become more important than anything else. And my truth is more important than the truth. And it's how I feel towards a situation that makes it right or wrong.
yeah,
And and yes, your feelings are important, but you're not the center of the world. And there's a lot of things that it's a bit hard for me to react because growing up in growing up where I grew up, I've seen some real shit, and and I look at these people and I say, my goodness, this is and this is why wokeism hasn't made its way to Israel, because we've seen too much real fucking shit, and pardon my
mm,
French, that it's hard for us to just take any of that seriously, because these people have no idea what it's like to have real problems. And it's sorry, I'm digressing. I'm getting into this spiel because it's like it irks me, and it's like and yeah, sorry.
no, I mean, don't apologize. I think, you know, I think speaking to that is so back to Jordan Peterson. No, not Jordan Peterson, some other guy who is way more extreme and a bit of a dick, to be honest. Um, from The Wire, not Ben Shapiro. I think Ben Shapiro isn't. Think he's a bit iffy, but the other guy, he did this whole documentary about what it is to be a woman.
I don't
Have
know.
you seen it? You know, okay, well, well, I won't, you know, think about it too much.
Yeah.
Um, and he kept comparing like our way of living, like the Western way of living, to like these tribes in Africa, where they were
Yeah.
like, can a man become a woman and things like that, and it made them laugh and things like that. And he was to the point of transgenderism doesn't exist, and I was like,
Yeah.
that's not the point. Like we have evolved to a point where things can change because otherwise nobody would none of us would be using a toilet and none of us would be, you know, on the phone and things
Yeah.
like that and traveling and you know. So I think it's fair that in Israel wokeism hasn't come because like the situation hasn't, you know, you've got other shit to deal with.
Yeah.
And then but then, you know, in other countries where we haven't got that shit to deal with, like let's cook up drama for
Yeah.
something
No, but
else.
when I say wokeism, I'm not talking about being like
No, no,
open-minded,
I
because
know. I'm you're talking about this kind of like really
Yeah,
dramatic talking, self-centered.
because Israel's the only open-minded Western country in the Middle East. But I'm saying in the fact of like of just being so self-centered and being so
Mm,
progressive to the point where you can't see anyone else's opinions or values or beliefs as valid. And when I see Ramses, he's like very much in that mindset of like it's not okay that you were in the army, and if you don't regret it, and
yeah,
if it's not in your past, then you're not okay. And if my physical needs aren't being met, no matter what the issue is, then I'm out of there. And that's the part that really irks me the most. And especially when you think that you're so morally superior, that's what irks me in all of this thing. Is like you're behaving like a self-centered brat and then feeling so pretentious like you're better than everyone else.
mm.
That's not okay in my book.
No, I agree, and it's kind of it's funny to me because these like really woke communities, like the healthy woke communities, like they want the word is community, like they want to
Yeah.
build groups and build everything, and like and to the people who are very self-centered, you want to think about it. It's just how can you live in a community and benefit from the community if you're only gonna think about yourself?
Yeah, exactly.
And I think, and I was in one of my um like speaking circles, tantric speaking circles. I kind of brought it up. I was saying, we are learning because, some of us grew up only thinking about others. It's teaching us to like rethink about ourselves, which is healthy. But when is it too much? Like, when is it? And I was saying, like, fine, everything is about me, but then at some point, like, if I'm moving, if I'm pregnant and need support, if I'm things like that, I kind of do want support of others. And then why am I expecting
Hmm.
other people's support if I'm not supporting them? And it triggered this big conversation, and a lot of people were saying, saying you want to choose your people, and and things like that, and that's fair. You want to choose the people who surround you, and I think Marissa wants
Yeah.
to choose the right man to marry, of not having the shadow of a doubt that when she's going to be unwell, he's going to support her.
Yeah. Yeah, and you want that. You want to feel like you can be supported no matter what. And you know what? You don't have to agree on everything. I think it's okay for every person to have their own
Yeah.
opinions and their own wants and needs and to think about themselves sometimes. But you also have to be able to do that for the other person and to be able to support them and not make them feel like if their issue is related to X, Y, Z, then you're not going to be there for them because you don't believe in that. And I think if you can't do that for the other person, then that's not the right relationship for you. Or maybe you need to change your perspective towards the relationship.
What do you bring to the
And
table?
yeah, exactly. And you know, relationships are gonna have difficult times. It's not always going to be pink and rosy, and it's not gonna always, you know, be up to par, and you have to work on it, you know? It's not like in the movies where everything's solved within one scene.
Minutes.
Yeah.
I think that's a good ending note.
Ooh, yeah.
So next week, um, Tyler and Ashley and Garrett and Taylor.
Yeah. Should be
So
a soft ending.
should be well, not uninteresting, but soft ending.
Not uninteresting, but much, you know, calmer, I
Yeah,
hope.
tamer. So
Yeah.
tell us what you
Let us
guys think.
know. Yeah.
Let us know, and maybe kind of try and predict what we say, because we're not going to be reading your predictions before we record, because we were literally going to
That's
record in
true.
like a minute. So
Yeah.
yeah, don't forget to like and everything and follow and subscribe, and see you next week.
Yes. Bye bye.
Bye.